Have you ever wondered why certain people suddenly disappear from your life? Why some relationships end just when you thought you needed those people the most? One day, someone is a regular part of your world, someone you talk to, trust, or depend on, and the next day, they are simply gone. Sometimes it happens through conflict, sometimes through distance, and sometimes without any clear explanation at all. In those moments, it is natural to feel confused, hurt, or even abandoned. You might question what you did wrong, or wonder why things had to change so abruptly. For many people on a spiritual journey, especially those often referred to as the chosen ones, these moments are rarely random. What appears to be loss on the surface may actually be part of a deeper spiritual process. Throughout life, certain connections are formed to teach us something, guide us somewhere, or reveal parts of ourselves that we did not fully understand before. But not every person who enters your life is meant to stay forever. Some relationships exist only for a season, and once that season has fulfilled its purpose, those people naturally move on. Sometimes, God removes certain people from your life for a reason, not to punish you, not to isolate you, and not to make your journey more difficult, but to guide you towards something greater. There are moments when the people around you may unknowingly slow down your growth, distract you from your purpose, or keep you connected to environments that no longer support who you are becoming. When you are meant to walk a path that requires deeper awareness, stronger faith, or greater responsibility, certain relationships may no longer align with that direction. For those who are on a path of spiritual awakening, these changes can be particularly intense. As you grow, your mindset changes. Your priorities begin to shift. The things that once felt comfortable may suddenly feel limiting. The conversations you used to enjoy may no longer resonate with you. Over time, the gap between who you are becoming and who others expect you to remain can quietly widen. And in many cases, that is when separation begins to happen. But what feels like rejection is not always rejection. What feels like loss is not always loss. Sometimes it is simply redirection. Sometimes it is protection. And sometimes it is preparation for a chapter of life that requires a different environment, different energy, and different people who align with the purpose that God has placed within you. In this video, we are going to explore 7 powerful reasons why God removes people from the lives of chosen ones, and why what feels like a loss today may actually be a hidden blessing preparing you for something greater. Understanding these reasons can help you see your experiences from a new perspective and remind you that even the most painful changes may carry a deeper meaning. If this message resonates with you, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more content about the journey of the chosen ones. One of the most common reasons God removes people from your life is because they are distracting you from your purpose. At first, this can be difficult to understand. When someone leaves your life, especially someone you cared about or trusted, the immediate reaction is often confusion or emotional pain. You might ask yourself why the relationship had to end, or why the connection could not simply continue the way it was. But from a spiritual perspective, especially for those walking the path of the chosen ones, separation is sometimes necessary for clarity. Every person carries a unique purpose in life, but not everyone is called to the same level of responsibility or awareness. For individuals who are meant to grow into something greater, the path often requires focus, discipline, and spiritual alignment. The challenge is that many people around you may not fully understand the direction your life is meant to take. Even if their intentions are not harmful, their presence can unintentionally become a distraction that slowly pulls you away from the path you were meant to follow. Some people enter your life and unknowingly pull your focus away from what truly matters. They may consume your time through endless conversations that go nowhere. They may influence your decisions by encouraging you to choose comfort instead of growth. In other situations, they may keep you emotionally attached to patterns that prevent you from evolving into the person you are meant to become. None of this necessarily means they are bad people. Often it simply means they are not aligned with the direction your life is heading. Time is one of the most valuable resources any person has. When someone consistently absorbs your energy, your attention, or your emotional focus, it can slowly begin to shift your priorities. Hours that could have been used for self-development, learning, spiritual reflection, or building something meaningful may instead be spent maintaining connections that do not contribute to your growth. Over time, these distractions can quietly delay the progress you are meant to make. For those who are walking a spiritual path, distractions do not always appear in obvious forms. They can come disguised as comfort, familiarity, or emotional attachment. You may remain connected to certain people simply because you have known them for a long time, even if the relationship no longer helps you move forward. Sometimes the bond continues out of habit rather than purpose. The conversations repeat themselves, the same problems resurface again and again, and the environment stays exactly the same, while your soul is quietly calling you towards something different. This is where divine intervention can sometimes take place. When you are chosen for a greater calling, God often clears away the distractions so you can focus fully on the path meant for you. From the outside, it may appear as though relationships suddenly fall apart, misunderstandings grow, or distance begins to form between you and certain people. But beneath the surface, these changes may actually be guiding you back toward alignment with your true purpose. Many people experience moments in life when everything feels like it is shifting at once. Friendships that once felt strong begin to fade. Conversations with certain people feel forced or uncomfortable. Situations that used to feel natural suddenly feel out of place. During these periods, it can feel like your entire social world is rearranging itself. While this may seem unsettling at first, it often reflects an internal transformation that is taking place within you. As your awareness grows, your values begin to change. The things that once entertained you may no longer hold the same interest. The environments that once felt normal may begin to feel draining or limiting. You may start seeking deeper conversations, greater meaning, and stronger alignment with your spiritual beliefs. When this happens, the gap between your evolving mindset and the mindset of certain people around you can slowly widen. When that gap becomes too large, maintaining the same relationships becomes difficult. The connection may weaken, not because of conflict, but because the two paths are no longer moving in the same direction. One person may still be comfortable with the way things have always been, while the other feels called toward growth and transformation. In many cases, God allows these connections to naturally dissolve, so that the person who is evolving can continue moving forward without unnecessary resistance. Distractions are not always dramatic or destructive. Sometimes they are subtle. They appear in the form of constant negativity, repeated gossip, unhealthy habits, or environments that encourage stagnation rather than growth. Over time, these influences can slowly shape the direction of your life if you remain surrounded by them long enough. Even the strongest individuals can struggle to stay focused when they are constantly immersed in energy that contradicts their purpose. For chosen ones, the path often requires solitude at certain stages. This does not mean permanent isolation, but rather temporary seasons where distractions are removed so that deeper understanding can develop. During these seasons, you may find yourself spending more time alone, reflecting on your life, reconnecting with your beliefs, and discovering what truly matters to you. What once felt like emptiness may gradually transform into clarity. It is during these moments of clarity that many people begin to recognize how certain relationships had been influencing their direction without them even realizing it. When the noise of distraction fades away, the voice of purpose becomes easier to hear. Ideas that once felt distant begin to take shape. Goals that once seemed impossible begin to feel achievable. The absence of distraction creates space for vision. Another important aspect to consider is that distractions often keep people within their comfort zones. Comfort can feel safe, but it can also prevent growth. When you are surrounded by people who encourage you to stay exactly where you are, the motivation to push beyond your limits may slowly fade. Growth usually requires stepping into unfamiliar territory, learning new things, and sometimes walking alone for a period of time. When God removes distractions from your life, it can be a sign that you are entering a phase where your focus must become sharper than before. The path ahead may require more discipline, more spiritual awareness, and more dedication to your calling. In order to prepare you for that responsibility, certain influences must be removed so your attention can fully return to what truly matters. At first, This process may feel like loss, but as time passes, many people eventually realize that the removal of those distractions allowed them to grow in ways they never imagined. This idea can be difficult to accept at first, because human beings naturally focus on the positive memories they shared with others. When a relationship ends, it is common to remember the good moments and overlook the warning signs that may have been present all along. You might recall the laughter, the conversations, and the times when that person seemed supportive. But what you may not fully recognize in the moment are the subtle patterns that revealed a deeper problem. Not everyone who smiles at you truly supports your growth. Some individuals feel comfortable when you remain at the same level as them, but they become uneasy when they see you evolving beyond that. Your success, your discipline, or your spiritual awareness may begin to highlight insecurities they have within themselves. Instead of confronting those insecurities, they may unconsciously attempt to pull you back to a place where they feel more comfortable. This resistance does not always appear in obvious or aggressive forms. Often it shows up quietly through comments that discourage your ambitions or minimize your progress. A person may laugh at your dreams, suggest that your goals are unrealistic, or subtly question your decisions whenever you try to move forward. Over time, this type of energy can slowly weaken your confidence if you remain exposed to it long enough. Jealousy is another hidden force that can quietly exist within relationships. Not everyone celebrates the growth of others with a sincere heart. Some people may congratulate you, while secretly wishing that you would fail or remain stuck. This internal conflict can create a toxic dynamic, where the person appears supportive on the outside, but internally struggles with resentment toward your progress. When you are on a path that requires growth and transformation, surrounding yourself with such energy can be harmful. Even if the negativity is subtle, it can influence the atmosphere around you. Conversations become heavier, encouragement becomes rare. Instead of feeling uplifted, you may begin to feel drained after spending time with certain people. There are also situations where the danger is not emotional, but situational. Some individuals carry habits, behaviors, or environments that can gradually pull you into harmful circumstances. They may encourage unhealthy choices, expose you to risky situations, or normalize patterns that lead away from the life you are meant to build. At first, these influences may appear harmless, but over time they can shape the direction of your decisions. This is where divine protection can quietly intervene. Even if you cannot see the full picture, God can see what lies ahead. There may be circumstances, betrayals, or painful experiences that you are being spared from before they ever have the chance to occur. The removal of a person from your life may prevent a future situation that could have caused deep emotional damage or delayed your journey for years. Many people only realize this truth after time has passed. In the moment of separation, everything feels confusing. You may not understand why the relationship had to end, especially if you believed that person was important to your life. But as months or years go by, certain revelations often begin to surface. You may learn information about that individual that you never knew before. You may witness patterns of behavior that confirm your separation was necessary. Or you may simply realize that your life became more peaceful once that connection ended. Peace is often one of the clearest signs that protection has taken place. When someone with negative or conflicting energy leaves your life, the atmosphere around you begins to change. Your thoughts become clearer. Your emotions stabilize. The tension that once existed in conversations or interactions slowly disappears. You begin to feel lighter without fully understanding why. For chosen ones, protection is particularly important because their journey often requires emotional clarity and spiritual focus. When the wrong influences remain present for too long, they can disrupt that clarity. Negative energy can cloud judgment, create doubt, and distract from the deeper calling that lies ahead. Sometimes God removes certain individuals before their true intentions are even revealed to you. This may happen through sudden arguments, unexpected distance, or circumstances that naturally pull the two of you apart. In the moment, it may seem unfair or confusing, but from a spiritual perspective, it can be seen as a shield placed around your life to prevent unnecessary harm. Another aspect of protection involves betrayal. Unfortunately, betrayal is one of the most painful experiences a person can face in relationships. It can damage trust and leave emotional wounds that take years to heal. In many cases, divine intervention removes certain people before they have the opportunity to cause that level of damage. What feels like rejection today may have prevented heartbreak tomorrow. Protection can also come in the form of delayed opportunities. Sometimes the presence of the wrong people can influence the decisions you make, leading you down paths that are not aligned with your purpose. By removing those influences, God creates space for you to make choices based on clarity rather than pressure from others. When you begin to reflect on life through this perspective, certain experiences start to make more sense. Relationships that ended unexpectedly may have been protecting you from environments that would have held you back. Conflicts that pushed people away may have been separating you from individuals whose energy was incompatible with your growth. Understanding this does not mean you must feel anger or resentment toward those who left your life. In many cases, those individuals were simply playing a role in your journey. They may not have been aware of the impact their presence had on your path. The separation was not necessarily about blame, but about alignment and protection. As time moves forward, the purpose behind these separations often becomes clearer. You may discover that the absence of certain people allowed healthier relationships to form. You may notice that your emotional well-being improved. Or you may realize that the direction of your life changed in ways that would not have been possible if those connections had remained. For those walking the path of the chosen ones, divine protection is often subtle but powerful. What seems like loss can actually be guidance. What feels like rejection can actually be preservation. And what appears to be an ending may simply be the removal of hidden harm that could have delayed the life you were truly meant to live. In the previous section, we explored how sometimes God removes certain people from your life as a form of protection. Even when you cannot see the hidden dangers at the moment, those separations may be shielding you from negativity, betrayal, or circumstances that could have harmed your journey. But protection is not the only purpose behind these painful changes. In many cases, the removal of certain relationships serves a deeper spiritual role. Beyond protection, it becomes a process designed to strengthen something far more important: your faith. Losing people can be painful, but it can also deepen your faith. When relationships end, especially ones that once felt important or meaningful, the emotional impact can be intense. Human beings are naturally social, and we often build our sense of stability around the people who surround us. Friends, partners, family members, and trusted companions become part of the structure that supports our everyday lives. When those structures suddenly change or disappear, it can create a sense of emptiness that is difficult to ignore. During those moments, it is common to feel abandoned or confused. You may wonder why God allowed the separation to happen. You may question whether you made mistakes that caused the relationship to end. Some people even begin to doubt their spiritual path because the pain feels too heavy to understand. But for many chosen ones, this stage of loss becomes a powerful turning point rather than a permanent setback. When the people you once relied on are no longer there, you are often forced to look inward. The emotional support that once came from others may no longer be available in the same way. Conversations that once provided comfort may no longer exist. In that silence, something important begins to happen. You start searching for strength from a deeper place. It is in these moments that many people begin to reconnect with God in a more meaningful way. When everything in life feels stable, it is easy to rely on external sources of comfort. People may lean on friendships, relationships, or social environments to maintain a sense of peace. While these connections are valuable, they can sometimes become substitutes for spiritual dependence. When those external supports are removed, the absence creates a space where a stronger spiritual connection can begin to form. For chosen ones, this shift is often part of their spiritual development. The journey toward purpose frequently requires a deeper level of faith, and faith is rarely strengthened through comfort alone. Instead, it grows during moments of uncertainty, reflection, and personal struggle. When people leave your life, you may find yourself asking questions that you never asked before. Why did this happen? What is the meaning behind this experience? Where am I being guided next? These questions naturally lead many individuals toward prayer, meditation, or spiritual reflection. In searching for answers, they begin to build a more personal relationship with God. Spiritual awareness often develops in quiet moments when distractions fade away. Without the constant influence of other voices, you begin to hear your own thoughts more clearly. You begin to reflect on your experiences, your beliefs, and the direction your life is taking. During this process, many chosen ones begin to recognize patterns and signs that they previously overlooked. The loss of relationships can also teach an important lesson about where true strength comes from. When people rely too heavily on others for validation or emotional stability, their sense of peace can become fragile. If that external support disappears, the foundation of their emotional well-being may feel unstable. However, when faith becomes the center of that foundation, stability begins to return. Trusting in divine guidance means believing that there is a purpose behind even the most painful experiences. It requires accepting that the path ahead may not always be visible in the present moment. Many chosen ones eventually discover that the moments that felt like abandonment were actually moments of preparation. What once felt like abandonment can become a turning point that strengthens your relationship with God. Over time, the same solitude that once felt painful can begin to feel meaningful. Instead of seeing the absence of certain people as emptiness, you begin to view it as space for spiritual growth. You may start spending more time reflecting, praying, or seeking wisdom through spiritual teachings. The connection between your inner life and your faith becomes stronger with each passing experience. Another important aspect of this transformation is trust. Faith requires trust in something greater than immediate understanding. When life unfolds exactly the way we expect, trust is easy. But when relationships end unexpectedly and circumstances change without warning, trust becomes more challenging. It is during these moments that faith begins to mature. Chosen ones often discover that their spiritual strength develops most during periods when they feel the most uncertain. The absence of familiar relationships forces them to rely on guidance that comes from within. They begin to sense direction through intuition, prayer, or spiritual insight, rather than through the opinions of those around them. As this connection deepens, the way you view your experiences begins to change. Situations that once appeared as losses may gradually reveal themselves as necessary transitions. You begin to see how each chapter of your life has contributed to shaping your perspective and strengthening your resilience. Many people who walk this path eventually realize that the moments they felt closest to giving up were also the moments that brought them closest to God. When everything else fell away, the spiritual connection remained, and through that connection, a new sense of purpose slowly began to emerge. Faith built through hardship often becomes stronger than faith built through comfort. It carries the memory of struggle, perseverance, and discovery. It reminds you that even when circumstances appear uncertain, there is still a guiding presence working behind the scenes. For chosen ones, this strengthening of faith becomes essential as their journey continues. The path ahead may involve challenges, responsibilities, or missions that require unwavering trust in divine guidance. By experiencing moments of separation and learning to rely on God for strength, they develop the spiritual foundation needed to move forward with confidence. Looking back, many chosen ones come to see that the people who left their lives were not simply lost relationships. Instead, those departures became catalysts that led them toward a deeper understanding of themselves and a stronger connection with their faith. What once felt like abandonment eventually reveals itself as transformation, and through that transformation, faith becomes not just a belief, but a source of strength that guides every step of the journey ahead. In the previous section, we explored how losing certain people can strengthen your faith. When familiar relationships fade away, many chosen ones are pushed into a deeper connection with God, learning to rely less on external support and more on spiritual guidance. Through that process, faith becomes stronger and more personal. But there is another important reason why some people are removed from your life, and it is closely connected to what comes next on your journey. Sometimes, the absence of certain people is not only about protection or spiritual growth. Sometimes it is about preparation. It is about creating room in your life for something new to enter. When a chapter closes, another one often begins, and in many cases, the removal of certain relationships is what allows the right connections to appear at the right time. When someone leaves your life, it creates space. At first, that space can feel uncomfortable. Human beings are used to filling their lives with relationships, conversations, and familiar routines. When someone who once occupied that space suddenly disappears, the silence can feel strange. You may feel as if something important is missing, but in reality, that empty space may not be a loss at all. Instead, it may be an opening. Sometimes the relationships that end are simply making room for the people who truly belong in your future. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to walk with you forever. Some people are connected to a specific phase of your life, a particular stage of growth, or a moment when you needed to learn something important. Once that stage has passed, the relationship may naturally reach its conclusion. This does not mean the connection was meaningless. On the contrary, it may have played an important role in shaping who you have become. But as you continue to grow, your path begins to evolve. The person you are becoming may require a different environment, different conversations, and different influences. For chosen ones, this transition can be especially noticeable. As your awareness grows and your purpose becomes clearer, the type of people who resonate with your life also begins to change. You may find yourself drawn toward individuals who share similar values, similar ambitions, or a similar sense of spiritual direction. These connections often feel different from the relationships you had before. Instead of feeling draining or confusing, these new relationships tend to feel supportive and uplifting. Conversations with the right people bring clarity rather than doubt. Their presence encourages your growth rather than holding it back. They respect the direction your life is taking and support the steps you are trying to make toward your purpose. The right people will support your growth, respect your path, and help you move closer to your purpose. This type of connection is not built on competition, jealousy, or misunderstanding. Instead, it is built on mutual encouragement. The right people celebrate your progress instead of feeling threatened by it. They offer wisdom when you need guidance and encouragement when challenges appear. But these kinds of relationships often cannot appear while the wrong ones are still occupying the space in your life. When your emotional energy is tied to people who do not align with your journey, there may be little room left for new connections to develop. Your time, attention, and emotional investment remain focused on maintaining relationships that no longer serve your future. That is why separation sometimes becomes necessary. The departure of certain individuals clears the space that allows something better to enter. God often removes the wrong people, so the right ones can enter your life at the right time. Timing plays a crucial role in this process. The right people do not always arrive immediately after others leave. There may be a period where you feel alone or uncertain about who truly belongs in your life. But this period is often intentional. It allows you to grow independently and to understand yourself more clearly before forming new connections. When the right people finally appear, you are better prepared to recognize them. You are more aware of your values, your goals, and the type of energy you want around you. Instead of accepting relationships simply because they are familiar, you begin to choose connections that truly align with your journey. Many chosen ones eventually look back and realize that the relationships they once tried so hard to hold on to were actually preventing the right people from entering their lives. If those old connections had remained unchanged, there would have been no room for new relationships that were more aligned with their purpose. Another important aspect of this process is growth through shared vision. The right people often enter your life when you are ready to move towards something meaningful. They may appear as mentors, friends, collaborators, or companions who share your desire for growth and transformation. These individuals do not merely exist in your life for comfort or entertainment. They contribute to your progress. Their ideas challenge you to think deeper. Their experiences inspire you to aim higher. Their presence reminds you that you are not walking your path alone. It is also important to understand that the right people do not necessarily make life easier in every moment. Instead, they help make life more meaningful. They encourage honesty, accountability, and growth. They help you stay aligned with your purpose even when challenges appear. For chosen ones, these connections can become powerful sources of support. Walking a path of purpose can sometimes feel isolating, especially when others do not understand your vision. But when the right people enter your life, that sense of isolation begins to fade. You realize that there are others who share similar values and who are also striving towards something greater. Over time, the relationships that form during this stage often become more stable and authentic than those that came before. They are not built solely on circumstance or convenience. Instead, they are built on alignment, respect, and shared direction. Looking back, many chosen ones come to understand that the people who left their lives were not necessarily removed because they were bad individuals. Often they were simply not meant to continue into the next chapter. Their role had been fulfilled. Once that role ended, space was created for the relationships that truly belonged in the future. When you begin to see life through this perspective, the departure of certain people becomes easier to understand. Instead of focusing only on what was lost, you begin to notice what is being prepared. The space that once felt empty becomes a place of possibility, and in that space, the right people can finally enter your life at exactly the moment they are meant to appear. In the previous section, we discussed how the removal of certain people from your life can create space for the right individuals to enter. Sometimes relationships end not because they were meaningless, but because they were connected to a specific stage of your journey. When that stage comes to an end, space is created for connections that align more closely with your future. However, there is another important dimension to these experiences that many people do not immediately recognize. Beyond making room for the right people, some relationships exist primarily to teach you something essential about yourself and about life. Every person who enters your life carries a lesson. This idea can change the way you view the relationships that have come and gone throughout your life. Instead of measuring a relationship only by how long it lasted or how it ended, you begin to see it as part of a larger process of growth. Some individuals enter your life for years, while others remain for only a short period of time. But regardless of their duration, each interaction has the potential to reveal something important. For chosen ones, this process of learning through relationships is often intensified. Their path tends to involve deeper levels of self-discovery and awareness. Because of this, the people they encounter frequently become mirrors that reflect hidden parts of themselves. Through these reflections, lessons begin to unfold. Some people teach you how to trust. Trust is one of the most fundamental elements of any relationship. When you encounter people who are supportive, honest, and reliable, they show you what genuine connection feels like. They help you understand that trust can exist and that relationships can be built on sincerity and mutual respect. These individuals often appear during moments when you need encouragement or stability. However, trust is not only learned through positive experiences. Sometimes the most powerful lessons about trust come from situations where it is broken. When someone fails to keep their word or behaves in a way that contradicts their promises, the pain of that experience can reveal the importance of choosing carefully who you place your confidence in. Although these moments can be painful, they also strengthen your awareness and help you develop discernment. Other people teach you how to set boundaries. Boundaries are essential for maintaining emotional and spiritual well-being, yet many individuals struggle to establish them. Some relationships push you into situations where you constantly give more than you receive. You may find yourself sacrificing your time, your energy, or your peace of mind just to maintain the connection. Over time, this imbalance can become exhausting. When you encounter people who repeatedly cross your limits or disregard your needs, the discomfort eventually forces you to confront an important question. How much are you willing to tolerate before protecting your own well-being becomes necessary? Learning to say no, learning to step back, and learning to protect your emotional space are lessons that often emerge from these experiences. For chosen ones, boundaries are particularly important because their path requires clarity and focus. If they allow others to constantly drain their energy, it becomes difficult to remain aligned with their purpose. The lessons that teach them how to protect their peace are therefore essential to their journey. And some people teach you how to recognize your own value. Self-worth is another lesson that frequently develops through relationships. Sometimes individuals enter your life who fail to appreciate your efforts, your kindness, or your dedication. They may take your support for granted or treat your presence as something ordinary. Over time, this can lead you to question your own worth if you are not careful. But eventually, experiences like these begin to reveal an important truth. Your value is not determined by how others treat you. Instead, it comes from understanding who you are and what you bring into the world. When someone fails to recognize that value, it does not diminish it. It simply reveals that they are not the right person to receive what you have to offer. Through these lessons, many chosen ones begin to develop stronger self-respect. They learn to walk away from situations where they are not appreciated. They begin to choose environments where their contributions are acknowledged and their presence is welcomed. Once the lesson is learned, their role in your life may naturally come to an end. This is one of the most important aspects of understanding relationships through a spiritual perspective. The ending of a connection does not necessarily mean that something went wrong. Sometimes it simply means that the purpose of that relationship has been fulfilled. When the lesson connected to that relationship has been fully understood, the dynamic between the two individuals may naturally begin to change. Conversations may become less frequent. Shared interests may fade. The emotional bond that once held the connection together may slowly weaken. Rather than forcing the relationship to continue, life gently guides both individuals towards separate paths. For many chosen ones, recognizing this process can bring a sense of peace. Instead of viewing every ending as a failure, they begin to see it as a completed chapter. Each relationship becomes part of a larger journey of growth and understanding. What matters is not how long they stayed, but what you learned from the experience. Some of the most transformative lessons in life come from relationships that lasted only a short time. A single conversation, a brief friendship, or a short-lived partnership can sometimes leave a lasting impact on how you see yourself and the world around you. The value of these experiences lies not in their duration, but in the insight they provide. When you reflect on the people who have passed through your life, you may begin to recognize patterns. Certain individuals appeared during moments when you needed to learn something specific. Once that lesson became clear, the relationship gradually moved out of your life, making room for the next stage of your journey. Over time, this perspective allows you to appreciate even the difficult relationships you have experienced. The pain they caused may have been real, but the wisdom they left behind can become part of your strength. Each lesson adds another layer of understanding to your life. For chosen ones, this continuous process of learning is essential. Their path is rarely simple or predictable. Instead, it unfolds through experiences that challenge them, teach them, and shape their character. The people they meet along the way often play crucial roles in this transformation. When you begin to see relationships through the lens of lessons rather than losses, a shift in perspective occurs. Gratitude begins to replace resentment. Understanding replaces confusion. You realize that even the most difficult encounters contributed to the person you are becoming. In this way, every relationship becomes part of your preparation. Each lesson strengthens your awareness and equips you with the wisdom needed for the chapters that still lie ahead on your journey. In the previous section, we explored how every person who enters your life often carries a lesson. Some relationships teach you trust, others teach you boundaries, and some help you recognize your own worth. Once those lessons are learned, the role those individuals played in your journey may naturally come to an end. But the learning process does not stop there. In fact, after certain people leave your life, a new and even deeper stage of growth often begins. This next stage is not always comfortable, but it is extremely important. After the lessons have been revealed and the relationships connected to them fade away, many chosen ones enter a period where they must walk part of their journey alone. This stage is often misunderstood because it can feel like isolation at first. Yet, beneath that feeling lies one of the most powerful transformations a person can experience. Many chosen ones discover their true strength during periods of solitude. When the people you once depended on are no longer around, your life can suddenly feel very different. The conversations you used to have may disappear. The emotional support you once relied on may no longer be available. Even the simple routines that once involved others may change. At first, this shift can create a sense of emptiness or uncertainty. Human beings naturally seek connection, and losing familiar relationships can feel like losing part of your stability. But this stage of solitude is often where your deepest strength begins to emerge. Without the constant presence of others influencing your decisions, your attention slowly turns inward. Instead of relying on external validation or guidance, you begin to listen to your own thoughts, your own instincts, and your own spiritual awareness. For many chosen ones, this is the moment when they begin to realize how strong they truly are. When people are constantly surrounded by others, it can be easy to underestimate their own abilities. They may rely on advice from friends, emotional reassurance from partners, or approval from family members before making important decisions. While these connections can be supportive, they can also prevent someone from fully recognizing their own independence. Solitude changes that dynamic completely. When you no longer have the same level of support or influence from others, you begin to make decisions on your own. You start facing challenges without immediately turning to someone else for answers. At first, this can feel uncomfortable, but over time it builds a powerful sense of confidence. Each challenge you overcome becomes evidence of your resilience. Each obstacle you navigate without external support becomes proof that you are capable of far more than you once believed. When the people you once depended on are no longer around, you begin to rely on your inner resilience and your connection with God. This is where spiritual strength becomes deeply intertwined with personal strength. Many chosen ones discover that their faith becomes stronger during these periods of solitude. Without the noise of constant social interaction, they often find themselves spending more time reflecting, praying, or seeking spiritual understanding. In this quiet space, the connection with God often becomes clearer and more personal. Instead of hearing many different opinions about what you should do with your life, you begin to focus on listening for spiritual guidance. This shift can bring a sense of peace and direction that was difficult to recognize before. Solitude also provides an opportunity for self-discovery. When you are not constantly adapting your behavior to fit the expectations of others, you begin to see yourself more clearly. You start to understand what truly matters to you, what kind of life you want to build, and what values guide your decisions. Many chosen ones use this time to explore their purpose more deeply. They reflect on their experiences, their talents, and the direction their life is taking. Without the distractions of constant social influence, their vision for the future begins to sharpen. At first, this stage can feel like loneliness. Loneliness is a natural emotional response when familiar relationships change. It can create moments where you question whether something is missing from your life. But as time passes, many chosen ones begin to realize that what they initially perceived as loneliness is actually solitude. There is an important difference between these two states. Loneliness is often associated with a feeling of emptiness, while solitude can become a space for growth and reflection. When you begin to use that space intentionally, it transforms into something powerful. What once felt like loneliness can become a powerful season of self-discovery and growth. During this season, many individuals develop new habits and perspectives that shape the rest of their lives. They may begin reading, studying, creating, or pursuing goals that once seemed distant. They may invest more time in personal development, spiritual understanding, or building the foundations of their future. Without the distractions of unhealthy relationships or conflicting influences, their energy becomes focused on growth. Ideas that once seemed unclear begin to take shape. Talents that were previously overlooked begin to surface. Confidence slowly replaces the uncertainty that once existed. This period also teaches an important lesson about independence. Chosen ones often discover that they are capable of standing firmly on their own path, even when others do not fully understand it. They learn that approval from others is not required for them to pursue their purpose. The strength that develops during solitude often becomes one of the most valuable qualities a chosen one can possess. Life will always present challenges, unexpected changes, and moments of uncertainty. But when you have already learned how to navigate those moments alone, you carry a level of resilience that cannot easily be shaken. Looking back, many chosen ones eventually realize that their greatest growth occurred during the periods when they felt the most alone. Those moments forced them to look inward, reconnect with their faith, and discover the strength that had always existed within them. What once appeared to be isolation gradually reveals itself as preparation. Through solitude, resilience is built. Through reflection, purpose becomes clearer. Through faith, confidence grows stronger. And by the time new chapters begin to unfold, the person who once feared being alone often emerges with a deeper understanding of who they truly are. In this way, the removal of certain people from your life can lead you to a place where you discover the strength that was waiting within you all along. Throughout the previous sections, we have explored several reasons why certain people may leave your life. Sometimes they are removed because they distract you from your purpose. Sometimes their absence protects you from hidden harm. In other cases, the separation strengthens your faith, creates space for the right people, teaches important lessons, or helps you discover the strength that exists within you. Each of these experiences plays a role in shaping your path. But beyond all of these reasons, there is another possibility that many chosen ones eventually come to understand. Sometimes God removes people from your life because you are about to step into a higher level of your purpose. Growth rarely happens without change. As you evolve, your mindset shifts, your priorities become clearer, and your vision for the future begins to expand. The person you are becoming may not be the same person you were years ago, or even months ago. With that transformation often comes a change in the kind of environment and relationships that support your journey. When someone is preparing to move into a higher calling, their life begins to align with a greater responsibility. A higher calling may involve leadership, influence, service, creativity, or a deeper spiritual mission. Whatever form it takes, it usually requires focus, maturity, and a strong sense of direction. Not everyone in your current environment will be prepared for that transition. Not everyone who walks with you in one chapter of your life is meant to follow you into the next. Life unfolds in chapters. Each stage of your journey introduces new experiences, new challenges, and new opportunities for growth. The people who were present during one stage may have played an important role at that time, but their role does not necessarily continue forever. For example, some individuals enter your life during moments when you are still discovering who you are. They may share interests, environments, or circumstances that connect you for a period of time. But as your understanding of your purpose deepens, your direction may begin to shift. The goals that once seemed important may no longer hold the same meaning. The conversations that once felt engaging may begin to feel limited. When this transformation occurs, the distance between your path and the paths of others may gradually grow. This distance does not always come from conflict or disagreement. Often, it simply reflects the natural evolution of your journey. As your mission grows, your environment and relationships may also need to change. A higher calling often requires a different level of focus and discipline. The habits, environments, and influences that once surrounded you may no longer support the direction you are moving toward. If your purpose requires deeper commitment or greater responsibility, the people around you may need to understand and respect that change. However, not everyone will feel comfortable with that transformation. Some individuals may struggle to understand why your priorities are shifting. They may prefer the version of you that existed before your growth began. This can create subtle tension within relationships, especially if those individuals are not ready to evolve in the same direction. In other situations, people may not oppose your growth directly, but they may simply remain focused on different goals. While there is nothing inherently wrong with this difference, it can still lead to separation over time. When two individuals are moving toward very different destinations, maintaining the same connection becomes increasingly difficult. For chosen ones, stepping into a higher calling often requires courage. It involves embracing a vision that may not always be fully understood by those around you. It may require sacrifices, changes in routine, and moments of solitude as you prepare for the responsibilities ahead. The people who cannot align with your next level may naturally fade away. This fading does not always happen suddenly. In many cases, it unfolds gradually. Conversations become less frequent, shared interests begin to diminish, the sense of connection that once existed slowly fades as both individuals move toward different directions in life. While this process can feel bittersweet, it is often necessary. Holding on to relationships that no longer align with your growth can slow down the transition into your next chapter. When certain individuals leave your life, the energy and time that once maintained those connections becomes available for new opportunities. These opportunities may appear in the form of new ideas, new environments, or new relationships that support the direction of your calling. Sometimes the right mentors, collaborators, or companions enter your life precisely when you are ready to move into a greater role. Many chosen ones later realize that the people who left their lives did not disappear randomly. Their departure happened at the exact moment when change was necessary. Without that shift, the chosen one might have remained in an environment that limited their potential. Preparation for a higher calling often involves transformation. The person you were before may not have been ready for the responsibilities that lie ahead. Through the experiences of separation, reflection, and growth, you gradually become stronger, wiser, and more focused. This preparation shapes your character. It teaches patience when things move slowly. It teaches humility when challenges appear. It teaches resilience when the path becomes uncertain. Each step of the process molds you into someone capable of carrying the mission that awaits you. Looking back, many chosen ones eventually recognize that every separation played a role in preparing them for the life they were meant to live. What once felt like loss eventually reveals itself as alignment. What once felt like rejection becomes redirection. When you understand this perspective, the departure of certain people no longer feels like the end of something valuable. Instead, it becomes a sign that your life is transitioning into a new chapter. A chapter that may demand more from you, but also offer greater purpose and deeper fulfillment. And as you continue forward, you may begin to realize that the path unfolding before you was always guiding you toward a higher calling all along. If you are currently experiencing the pain of losing people in your life, remember that it may not be a sign that something is wrong with you. Moments like these often bring confusion and emotional weight, because relationships are deeply connected to our sense of belonging and stability. When someone important walks away, it is easy to interpret that experience as rejection or failure. You may question your decisions, your actions, or even your worth. But the truth is that not every ending in life is meant to be a reflection of your mistakes. Sometimes the departure of certain people has very little to do with what you did or did not do. Instead, it may be connected to the direction your life is meant to take. Growth often requires change, and change can alter the relationships that once felt permanent. The person you are becoming may no longer align with the environments or connections that once surrounded you. Sometimes it is simply a sign that God is guiding you towards something greater. There are moments in life when the path ahead requires clarity, focus, and spiritual strength. If certain relationships remained unchanged, they might prevent you from stepping fully into that next stage. In those situations, separation becomes part of the preparation process. What feels like loss today may actually be creating the conditions necessary for your future to unfold. The people who leave may have already fulfilled their purpose in your journey. Every connection carries meaning, even if that meaning is not immediately visible. Some individuals arrive in your life to support you, encourage you, and share experiences that shape your character. Others appear to challenge you, teaching lessons about trust, boundaries, or resilience. Whether their presence lasted years or only a short period of time, their role contributed something to your personal and spiritual development. When their part in your story has been completed, life sometimes guides them in a different direction. That shift does not erase the value of what was shared. Instead, it simply signals that the chapter connected to that relationship has reached its conclusion. And while it may hurt now, their absence may be the very thing that prepares you for the life you were truly meant to live. Pain often carries transformation within it. The experiences that challenge us the most frequently become the moments that shape our strength and clarity. Through separation, many chosen ones discover deeper faith, stronger independence, and a clearer understanding of their purpose. They begin to recognize that what once felt like an ending was actually the beginning of a new stage in their journey. With time, the confusion that once surrounded these experiences often turns into understanding. The path that once seemed uncertain becomes clearer. New opportunities appear, new relationships form, and new directions begin to open in ways that were impossible to see before. For those walking the path of the chosen ones, every chapter carries meaning. Even the difficult chapters hold lessons that prepare you for what lies ahead. The people who come and go are part of that unfolding story, each contributing to the person you are becoming. If this message spoke to you, be sure to like this video, share it with someone who might need this encouragement, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content about the journey of the chosen ones.